Hello, back on track with Borderline. This is the song that I declared I was going to have a big expansive noodle session. And the last thing that we did was do a bit of live sketchbooking where if you were able to sit through it, and I'm sure it was pretty difficult at times because you're listening to lots of rubbish sound. The fact was that after, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes of labour, I was starting to get a working melody. I said at the time I didn't know whether or not I'd keep it. Well, in fact I did, and carried on working with it. And it didn't take me more than another half an hour or so of playing with what I already had until I had a slightly amended but much more musical solo. So before we go on to discuss what happened with it then, let's listen to it as it was once I'd finished processing it. So I've glued all the individual segments together and rendered it as one file so that I can look at it in Vari Audio. But this is those raw, unedited guitar sections glued together to make a single continuous solo. And we have this. Oh, I really like that. I think that's a nice melody. So I thought to myself, well, what am I going to do with it now? Here I am at the beginning, the birth of a song. I didn't really ever intend to get into guitar solo territory at this early stage. I prefer to work on the foundations. And I haven't got any foundations. There are none. There's the guitar, the strummy guitar thing, which I do really like. Very badly played, but its heart's in the right place. So this is definitely going to be the verse kind of thing, and this is we're just about to move into the chorus kind of thing. And the reason I'm saying kind of thing a lot is because I'm trying to get out of the habit. Let's turn this down a bit. I'm trying to get out of the habit of using such common vernacular as verse, chorus, bridge. They're fine for most purposes and they work, but it does end up pigeonholing one's attitude to a song. Verse, chorus, right, I need a bridge. Well, why do I need a bridge? Because convention tells me. I'd rather keep it much more open-ended than that and just have different sections of the song that have different motifs. So given this guitar solo idea, and deciding I don't want a guitar solo, my next idea was to give it to the vocalist. So this is going to be the melody line that Pauline sings. And so I came up with a guide vocal. So this is the piano version of the guitar solo. See, I played it live. So that's the way I did it. Was I started with a complete transcription, note for note, exactly as the guitar played it. Then I had a look at the range of notes. Now Pauline's range is primarily B2 to C sharp 4. Some of the notes in the guitar solo went down to, I think, A2. So I had to do a little bit of twiddling to change those. Fortunately, all of the other notes actually fell in the range, so very little kind of by necessity editing to the solo. And then once I got to that stage, I just listened to it and thought, well, are there any improvements I can now make to it just by listening to the thing as it is? It's not written in stone, those have to be exactly the notes, and I made a couple of twiddles. And so off the back of that, I then asked Pauline to sing a da 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 version equivalent so that I could see whether or not there needed to be more spaces for breaths. And so we get this. So now we're really starting to get somewhere. This is why I was excited to show you this, because this is a new thing. I've not done this before. I've not done this like really early prototype vocal templating with Pauline to say, how is it working? But I really wanted a flavour of whether or not she could actually like physically sing the thing, particularly at the end. There's not much space here. This bit. So she's having to sing that with one breath. Yes, that's 2.5 bars without a breath. I think I'm going to put one in. I think she could manage it with a big deep breath. We might do a couple of takes where she had a big deep breath and at 32.5 comes in and sings that whole phrase. She probably could do it, but I don't think there's any need to like stretch the lungs that far. I think I can quite easily find a space in there for her to take a breath, and that will then shape the lyrics that I write around the melody. So having this kind of template concept of saying, right, do the notes work? Do I like the sound of the melody? Are you physically able to sing it? Are the notes in your range? Are there enough breaths for you to be able to sing it organically? This is the process of learning how to work with a vocalist. I've never had to do any of these things before. So in my earlier songs, the first few songs that we recorded together, we were singing almost every phrase was individually sung, and then it didn't matter about breaths because I was able to glue them together with basically no breath at all. As long as the notes weren't overlapping too much, it sounded completely natural. The last couple of songs that we've worked on, we've started to get into the frame of mind of how much of the song can you sing in one go to get that sense of kind of emotional resonance. And the latest song that we're working on that I haven't actually started talking about yet, and there's a song in the pipeline called The Mirror Song where we're actually working on it as a performance piece, and she will sing the entire song without a break, and so we're kind of rehearsing it so that we can do this one mega take. So Borderline really sits in that kind of that blurred line in between where I'm playing with the different techniques of how to get vocals recorded. So hopefully this groundwork, and this is just one part of the melody, I haven't come up with the rest yet. I'm tempted, having said that I haven't come up with the rest yet, I'm just going to pull it back a couple of bars and set it off again. So from this point onwards, you hear it goes into the... quite like that. That's quite a nice transition. And then so the music's going to pull down now. And I'm thinking kind of metadata here, thinking how is the whole song going to be constructed when I don't have a song under my, in the box. And this is allowing me to kind of think about it holistically and put pieces into place that when the music goes on top, it's just going to fit, it's going to feel right. And I'm thinking that this guitar line that's just about to come in now could be another vocal melody. I wish I could sing along with it, but I can't. But if you imagine that really sparse call and response thing being another vocal line, then suddenly we're in the situation where the vocal is doing really interesting things and is more or less completely written and will inform how the rest of the song evolves around it. This isn't normally how I work, this is a new thing. So that's the entire song mapped out as it currently stands now, and this would bring it in at close on 6.5 minutes, which is way longer than any song that I've done before. Don't care, it's fine. But I'm trying to get that sense of, well, where do I want to breathe? Where do I want my noodle fest? Do I still want a noodle fest? Has this template kind of taken precedence over that? And that's what I'm currently working on now, and it's a slow process because I have to listen to the entire 6.5 minutes and try to imagine what the whole song is going to sound like, and are there any extra pieces that need to be added in. I've just today added another little bass line, an 8-bar thing here. I've not actually listened back to this since I recorded it. It's really simple. So coming out of the vocals, we take basically like a musical breath, and then we're going to go into the Dorian harmonic minor bit. So if this structure survives, there won't be a noodle. No noodle, you say. The horror. One day, I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to make myself have a 2-minute instrumental break in the middle of a song just because I've said I'm going to. If I think that this is a better idea, I'll run with it. So coming out of that modally modulating thing into a second section of the lyrics again. So this is the sparse call and response section. So she'll sing something kind of, interesting here. And then towards the end of the song, it's really a free-for-all. I had the original motif coming back over here. Anyway, that's completely up in the air and very much in the design phase. But I thought that was a really interesting, exciting kind of musical development. I've never done this before. Come up with a guitar solo and think, that's too good for the guitar, I'm going to give it to the vocals. Or more particularly, kind of without being quite so facetious, at this stage of the song, I'd rather have a vocal line. That will help me then put the melody, the words over the top of it, and I'm really up and running with the song then. And I can come along after the fact and fill in more guitar chord stuff or keyboards or whatever I want later. But it just feels organically right to do it this way. I'm trying not to paint myself into any corners. Everything's always up for grabs. I've left the drum beat completely alone. As you can hear, it's just a 4/4 drum beat, keeping everything together. I am utterly disinterested in the rhythm at the moment. I'll put my attention on that later. And when I do start thinking about what rhythm's going to go in, I'm sure that will in turn inform some of the musical ideas that then flow from it. But not now. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm trying to get this holistic concept, and coming from a sketchbooking idea of like doing it live, and you saw this thing kind of start to be born. Every day is an interesting day when you're writing music. I think this is fantastic stuff. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll come back for episode 3. If you subscribe to my channel and hit notifications, then you'll find out when that is. Thanks very much for watching. See you then.